Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever we are. How are we all doing? If you're looking for the live room this morning, it's not on the replay. Rather, it's not on YouTube at the moment. It's having problem rendering apparently. So it is rendering, but for some reason it's not gone up there until the high definition version is done. So it will be up there, just in case you were looking for the replay from this morning. But so I was just doing an EA test, which is not doing too bad. This is 1 month. I'm building a price action EA, and I'm making it super simple, not optimizing it at all. Just trying to get it to pass a load of evaluations, basically. But this one's doing all right. 2.5k in a month with a 45% strike rate, 4% drawdown on the DAX, that is. Anyway, that's what I spend my time doing, mucking about building stuff. I've got a DAX short on. The news obviously came out on the GDP for the US dollar. Afternoon, Diamond, ex-cap, by the way. Whoever else is here. News came out basically negative US. We had a little bit of a push up on the US, but it hasn't really done anything. Hasn't done anything at all. It dropped, pushed up, dropped. The indices came down a little bit for 10 minutes or so. I think we might get some downward movement on the indices this afternoon. I would expect the US dollar to come down as well. The thing that's kind of put a little bit of a spanner in the works is the forecast CPI increase, but I don't think that will really make much difference. I think we'll still see negative movement, but we'll see. We didn't get really much reaction at all. I've got a US dollar US dollar Swiss position built up here. As you can see, I got into multiple positions up here. As the news was coming in, and it's just whipsawed. So I've got a stop on these positions up here. I'll be getting out if it pushes for any reason this afternoon. But yeah, it didn't really go anywhere, did it? Bit rubbish. Afternoon EA. Yeah, not very good movement. So, and I'm watching this DAX as well. DAX is just going into profit. I'm going to close some of this position out, I think. Just we've got 2 minutes to the open. A little bit. I've got quite a bit of size on this, so I'm not sure I want all these positions on. But equally, if this tanks at the open, I shall enjoy having all of these positions on. But we'll see. It's coming down all right at the moment. We've got 2 minutes to the open. We'll have a look at all the FX pairs and stuff and what's gone on this morning in a bit. Just going to let these run and see what happens. So we've still got the DAX fill available to us. I've made a little bit this morning on this drop. Not a lot. The other indices have done very much the same thing. We had a push up in London and then we've had a drop back down to where we started. So we haven't really gone anywhere. We've got these tiny little gaps to fill on the indices. I'm not sure if they're real or not. So I'm just closing. We've got 40 seconds to the open and it's pushing down. I don't want this whole lot on. I'm closing 2. I don't want the whole lot on at the open. A bit too much risk in case we get a spike. So yeah, we've got these tiny little gaps to fill, which I'm not even sure if they are there. They're so small, but I don't know. Difficult to tell. So we'll see what happens at the open. We'll give it first 10-15 minutes to see what happens. Wow. Buyers. Jesus. Okay, US dollar should be coming down if that's going to continue all morning, all afternoon. Holy crap. So I was just closing my DAX positions out on my funded account. I'm not risking that. That was a big old flurry of orders came in there. They do seem to have been absorbed, though, a lot of them, on the DAX especially, but the other indices are pushing up a little bit. There's a lot of flurry of orders there, wasn't it? Wow. Market's hungry. So the US dollar hasn't really moved at the open at all. It was an interesting open, wasn't it? That was a hell of a lot of buying that came in there, and that really all got absorbed pretty quick. Wow, FTSE's coming down really hard. DAX is coming down nicely. Trying to, anyway. We've got ADRs hit all over the place as well. We'll have a look at everything in a minute. Just wait for the market to calm down a bit. And short one more DAX. Good rejection on the NAS and the S&P. The FTSE's coming down. Afternoon, Peter. Just a bit worried about the US dollar. We haven't had much movement on that US dollar, so got a bit too much size on that. Let's go DAX. Afternoon, Burke. Okay, let's get this gap fill done. So, Jesus. That's a bit bright, isn't it? Deep pink. I was just playing with... oh, hello. I've just... The EA I've just been testing sets the background automatically, so it's changed that, which I didn't realise. Let's go with deep sky blue. That's nice. That'll do. So that's where I'm aiming for. And obviously these guys, we've got a little bit of a gap to do as well, but not very big. Literally, it's just below the Asian lows. So it's really easy for them to just grab that with one candle. Potentially. If they do, we want to be a little bit careful of a bounce down there. DAX is attempting new lows. We got basically the open this morning. This is the opening range. This is the opening range breakout this morning. This is where the buyers have stepped in twice. So this is a very strong support here, this propulsion gap. There's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting down under that gap as well. So it could be quite a bit of resistance down there. Let's see if we can crack that level. Looks like we're popping through at the moment. There's the opening range in. S&P screaming through the lows. Again, Asian low target. $13,942 is the last stand, basically, for lows on the DAX. I'm just going to close one out there. Break even stop. Oh, I closed two out. Whoops. Okay, well, I'm going to go break even stop on that one then. I didn't mean to close two out. I meant to close one out there, but I closed two. Never mind. Afternoon, Luke. Nasdaq's looking really indecisive at the minute. Just a big wick to the upside, big wick to the downside. Still got 3 minutes left on this candle, but a lot of indecision this afternoon. DAX is rejecting the lows. We've got buyers stepping in down here. Pretty heavy though, selling. US dollar's starting to come down. US dollar CAD is coming down. US dollar Swiss is trying to. US dollar yen is trying as well, but no real movement on the US. So that news really didn't do anything today. All factored in. Even the variance, which is actually quite big if you look at it. We were expecting a positive GDP result. We got a negative. So they're expecting a large drop to be positive, and they actually got a large drop negative. So I'm quite surprised we didn't get a big knee-jerk reaction off of that today, but they weren't interested. So I think it's partly to do with the amount of money that's gone into the yen today. There's a lot of trading been done on the yen, so maybe a liquidity issue, but don't know. We're struggling to push lower on the DAX, on the Nasdaq. S&P is struggling down here as well. Everything is. So if you got anything on, I'd break even it just in case. This thing could pop at any minute. Oops. What's the result of that poll? Not very helpful. I gave everybody 4 time slots for potentially doing the live room. It's pretty much split 25% across the board. The vast majority, though, well, not say the minor majority, is for 7:50 a.m. the normal morning Frankfurt Open. So that's okay. Failing that, it's 12:30 in the afternoon. Everybody wants. That's the old time. We used to do the live room at 12:30 in the afternoon. Sort of a lunchtime thing, but little bit of a pullback coming down here. So we got basically everything has got support here from the open. So this is where we started this move this morning. This is where we're hitting these buyers at the minute. Looks like they're getting trampled now. I'm going to have one more sell-in on the low of that candle. See if we can get a break of this low. If we get a break of this low, I think we're probably good to go, but we haven't got it. So very volatile again today. Very volatile. There's a lot of movement. It's horrible these days when you've got so much volatility. See on the M1 chart, it's just real like big pushes up, big pushes down, big push up, big push down, big push up, big push down. We just literally, the algorithms are just accumulating money. No direction though. So we've got big liquidity pool sitting at 42.10 on the ES. This is the area that we are struggling to get through at the moment, which is this propulsion gap. So that's this propulsion gap here. We're struggling. And then there's a pull down here as well. We've got to try and crack through as well. So there's a lot of support to get through on the US indices this afternoon. All getting absorbed down here. Elon getting rid of some of his Tesla stock. Zuckerberg liquidating Facebook to buy Tesla. Okay, we're having another crack at these lows. Trying to. Big selling coming in, not getting anywhere though. We are clear down to 42.10 now though, so that's next attempt. Here we go. If we crack that level, we're going to pop. There we go. Whoop. A lot of sellers stepping in on these orders. 4,200 again. This level just comes up every day, doesn't it? It's 4,200 at the minute. So 4,200 is the next low. Nasdaq, we've done the gap fill. 41.85, there's a load of orders sitting there as well. Damn it. Okay, so having a little bit of a pullback. A lot of selling on Facebook today. Was it Facebook's figures that came out? I can't remember. There was somebody, one of the stocks figures came out, didn't it? I can't remember which one it was. Okay, they've replaced those orders back at 42.20. So we're going to run up to 4,200. Hopefully, we'll crash that. Let's see. Just a little bit worried that Nasdaq's done the gap fill, and we're finding quite a bit of support down at this level. Obviously DAX, we've got miles to go on the DAX, but okay, I'm just going to close that DAX out for a minute. We're just having a bit of a pullback, gone a bit quiet over here. Just replacing a sell stop underneath those lows. So they're pushing the selling pressure down. Now back down to this level. Whoops, 41.80, 41.85. Yeah, so that's where the next batch of orders is sitting. This propulsion gap, which is where we stopped yesterday. So if we break here, that's where we'll be headed. Just going to get in one more position. Not much of a pullback. We'll have a look at all the FX pairs in a minute. I'm just waiting to see what happens with this candle. We've got 20 seconds. Okay, I'm going to try another one short, but reduce the risk on both of these wicks basically. If this is going to just push this afternoon and we're going to get down here on the US indices, obviously the DAX would get dragged with it. God, that slipped a bit there, that order. We should probably just go, as we have done for the last few days, just basically rips. And everybody sits there trying to grab these lows. And it just keeps ripping with 1 bar pullbacks, 2 bar pullbacks. So just going to assume we're doing something similar again today. If we get that 4200 level gone, it's clear skies basically, all the way down to 4185. Good selling. S&P just made new lows, Nasdaq just made new lows. Looks like a potential gap fill on Microsoft. I don't know, I haven't got Microsoft. But it's a gap fill on the S&P anyway. That's the gap fill. Nasdaq's already done. Okay, taking one off. Right. Okay, a little pullback starting now in the S&P. Be looking for somewhere up there. Just going to move that to break even, that DAX, just so I can not worry about watching it. 42.20. These orders are coming back in again. Let's see what we get at these highs as well. I haven't managed to crack this level. I still can't believe they were going to do 1 bar pullbacks again. It'd be lovely if we did. Just like to see it get up and find a bit of resistance, but as we've seen many days this week, this thing's just absolutely flying in both directions. When it just goes, and that's it. You do not get an opportunity to get in. That is your entry. That is your opportunity. Shorting. Other than that, you won't get a leg in. But it's very hard to take these because your whole being is saying this thing's going to pull back. That's literally all we get. Let's see what happens. 3 minutes left on this candle. Upside, we're looking 42.55, 42.60, 42.87. So, sitting up there, 42.87 area. Not quite sure what the relevance of that is. Oh, it's that accumulation here. Look, that's your 42.87. Not going to get up to 200% ADR, so that's not in play. This is though. Okay. Slowing down. Not got a lot of sellers or buyers coming in at the moment, so the market's just gone into slow-mo mode. US dollar Swiss is coming down nicely, so my positions on that starting to come into profit. New Zealand dollar yen pulled all the way back on me. Whoops. Today. I'm still holding. We've just basically pulled back into these highs and rejected, so looking for a new leg up on this. Euro pound as well screamed up. This thing went crazy. So I was in a nice profit on this one this morning, and we bounced straight off. Look at this. Remember I was drawing this head and shoulders in this morning, this neckline? Yeah, that held. So I'm looking for basically that shoulder, this to actually be the shoulder, and then break down below this level where I've got that sell stop. So still looking for this gap short, but we're in what, 1, 2, 3, 4 days of accumulation now in the euro pound, not going anywhere at all. Not going anywhere on anything at the moment. Okay, it's all gone quiet. Just keep an eye on that. Where should I put that? Put that over there. Keep an eye on that. US dollar Swiss RSI on the hourly. Just looked at that one. Go on, DAX. Keep going. Phew, that was intense. Traded the ranges on 1 minute, US 30. Managed to eke out 0.8% bouncing up and down. Awesome. I haven't looked at the US 30 today. Yeah, very nice. If you're looking at that on M1, wiki as you like. I'd be loving shorts up there, but I would be very worried about taking longs. Mind you, they work. Loads of selling coming back through now. Next leg down. So cracking 4,200. Loads of selling volume coming in. Morning, Martina. Oh, why didn't I stay in that DAX trade on my funded account? Never mind. Okay, so 4,200's gone. We're clear down to 41.85 now. Looks like it's going pretty quick. So gap fill's done. So we're filled on the Nasdaq. We're filled on the S&P. We're coming down to this next level support. Euro pound 125 ADR. Don't want to hear about that because I'm long on euro pound. Short on euro pound. Going to take that 0.5% off. DAX has gone a lot further, a lot faster than the other indices. Everything else has had a little bit of a pullback. DAX hasn't. We're just approaching an area of potential support on the DAX. It looks like it's getting through that anyway. That's not really a level of support, is it? So, yeah, I should have left that on really down to there. It's going to get there. So this is where we're looking potentially for some kind of support bounce, and then hopefully another leg up to come all the way down to fill this completely. But we're running out of steam a little bit here on all the indices. So just taking that off, put it in the bank. Can always get back in if we get a pull back up into these lows anywhere, somewhere around here. Potentially just jump in again for another short. So those replace that with sell orders. So it looks like we definitely want 41.85, 41.90. So somewhere down in these propulsion gaps basically is where we're looking to go for the S&P. Why didn't I hold that DAX? That's very annoying. What have I done today? 803 today, that'll do. I'm not going to trade the funded anymore today. I'm consistently and happily doing 500 to 800 a day at the minute. So I'm just trying to stop at 800 a day around that area, because You've seen me give it back many times, so I'm trying not to trade the funded account as much as I keep seeing nice things happening. I just know I'm going to give it back, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just watching. Just about to hit the gap fill area. So this whole zone here from the lows. So this is the Frankfurt Exchange Open. So just watch this area where they gapped up to when we get there, if you're short still. But overall target should be still down here. So I'm looking for a bounce, and then I'm going to try and get another short in on a bounce if we get one. If we don't get one, we just go, don't get one. Really, really, really coming out of Tesla today. Lots of Tesla selling. Interesting. Right, let's move that out of the way a minute. So ADRs today. Don't even know where to start. The market's been crazy today. US dollar yen, all the US dollars, all the yens rather, as we know, have been sky high. So we're 200% ADR. Lines have crossed. We're 200% ADR on that and on the Swiss yen. The Swiss has got nothing at the minute, and obviously the yen has just collapsed. So the US dollar has been taking complete advantage of that as well. All these yens, we will probably get a pullback. Whether or not we do this as a pullback is difficult to tell. The New Zealand dollar, we've done pretty much. I mean, this is the start of the move when Kuroda, the Outlook report came out this morning. That's the press conference. So no, that was press conference was 7:30, wasn't it? Yeah, so that was about the press conference. We came back down again. All the other yens have had a bit of a pullback so far. So I think any real longs that you get into, you should be fairly safe now. I think we've probably done the pullbacks on most of these. The news-wise, we've got a bank holiday tomorrow, which, again, we quite often get large yen manipulation when Japan is closed. So there's a good opportunity for further movement on that tomorrow. Apart from that, tomorrow, the only thing we've got is PCE for the US dollar. So there's no real news. We've got Jordan speaking tomorrow as well. Unlikely that anything will happen off of that. But we've got no other news really apart from PCE tomorrow. So there's nothing to look forward to that's really going to tip the yen in any direction apart from where it's gone this morning. So I would expect us to continue that move up on all these yen pairs. Everything else that's hit, the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar, very big moves today as well. Of the Aussies, they've moved in line with the yens, but a lot of retracement on those. 100% A-shaped recoveries, V-shaped recoveries everywhere. So yeah, not really interested in those because you would have needed to take them earlier. Euro pound is the most interesting of the lot at the moment. I've got this short on the euro pound at the minute. We've hit ADR high and we're just coming up into this accumulation at the moment. So if you could see Boocamp for the euro, what's on CME? Don't think I've got the euro. Be interesting to have a look at some of the FX futures and see what they look like. I haven't had a look at those. Might do that later. you'll see a large volume of orders sitting at this accumulation. So hopefully this is going to be the move, the last chance for those people that are looking to go short. I might actually just take one more up here. Oh, I've got another limit order up there. One sec. What am I doing? It's a bit close, isn't it? Yeah, well, I'm going to play that support bounce, resistance bounce there with another position. I've got one more position up there, and then I'm out at those highs. So we'll see what happens with that. But euro, obviously very, very, very weak at the moment. Pound is very weak at the moment, but the euro's just had a bit of a spike, basically, today against the pound. So it's literally all it is. There's nothing dramatic, as you can see. Oh, excuse me. Late night. So yeah, I don't think this is potentially a move by the euro, because all the others would have gone. So this looks like manipulation to me. So quite possibly we'll come up and just do the double top. That will just take the liquidity from yesterday's high at 150 ADR, and then we'll drop off from there. So good spot to have another position in. So that's all of those. On the hourlies, you've got a few hit. We know about the US dollar yen. Obviously, that's hit to the upside. US dollar Swiss is hit to the upside. That's coming off now nicely at the moment. So I've got the short on that one. Pound US dollar, I've got that buy on at the moment. I was expecting a weak US dollar. We're getting a weak pound and a weak US dollar. Next leg looks like that's just starting. Oh, that's the EA. See, again, one bar pullback. I hate taking these. It's just not enough of a pullback. You just expect this to be a little accumulation and then a pullback leg, which will stop you out. So I really struggle with these one bar pullbacks. I did take that one though, and it worked. So I don't know. After you may talk what? After you may to talk about levels zone range. Not quite understanding that one. Please elaborate. After you may talk about levels zone range. Let me know what you mean on that. I'm happy to talk about whatever that is, but I don't understand what it is. I just think this needs a little bit more room back. We haven't even got down to here yet. I've got a feeling we're going to get bounced down here. I don't want to short into this support. I'm going to leave it for a minute. So yeah, on the hourlies, basically, pound US dollar is very, very nicely extended. Let's move those out of the way a minute again. On the hourly, but we have been extended. We know we've been extended and embedded. The pound is shot. I've taken this long down here, expecting that US dollar weakness to come through, which we are starting to see off the back of the GDP figures. It certainly hasn't strengthened. It's gone a little bit more neutral, I would say, than weak. But the pound is still massively weak. So I've got that one position on there at the moment on the pound US dollar. I'm just looking for a level for a second position on that. Aussie US has hit its weekly range. It is Friday. Jeez, you've got to go back out quite a way. Yeah, so this is this support area that I looked at this morning. Very, very difficult to find support in here. So it's this level here. And this level here is these lows. So it's the best of a bad support resistance area, this accumulation. Failing that, we're coming down to these lows. It could be anywhere though in here. Literally anywhere in here could act as support. So it's kind of a case of taking a trade when you fancy it. So M5 reversal alert for me. We just pushed down and taken out the London lows, so this could be a liquidity run, and obviously anywhere down here is where we are potentially going to find that support in this zone. So yeah, pound US dollar taking another long off of that one. Obviously it's nicely just about extended. Pound CAD, don't want to get in the way of the Canadian dollar either at the moment, but the obviously the US dollar, the reason I'm taking the long on the pound US dollar is because I'm expecting US dollar weakness. I'm not expecting Canadian dollar weakness off the back of the oil figures yesterday, so that should still come down. Very nicely extended, but again the pound is just shot and you're up against the Canadian dollar, which is strong at the moment. There's a fair amount of selling coming in. Nasdaq's just made new lows. We're really running out of steam down here now on all these indices. Euro US dollar, again, can't long it. Nicely extended on the hourly, but I can't bring myself to long the euro. Want to wait for it to get back up into some kind of accumulation and look for short opportunities. 4 hours, very much the same as we were this morning. Yeah, there's a load of buying coming in now. So we didn't get it down to 41.90. We're coming back up to retest 42.10. A lot of orders in here. This is point of control of the session as well. So this is your POC. So this is an area of value for short sellers. A lot of buying coming in, all getting absorbed at the minute. Lots of volume. I just wanted to see what happens up here. If we get a nice bounce off of this level, we'll probably want to come back down and retest these lows. Just waiting for some selling to come in. Wow, US dollar yen's just taken off. $225 ADR, look at that. Not quite sure why we're seeing oh, that's yen weakness. It's not US dollar, it's yen weakness. Everybody's selling the hell out of the yen, which is nice for my New Zealand dollar yen. Okay, so we got through that level. We've moved now up to 42.25. So we quite often will do as a little stop hunt of those levels there. So basically this is the sellers puking and just getting out their orders, and then it all starts to move back in the other direction. So it's probably a good place to start looking for shorts. Didn't get any sellers coming through though, so a little bit premature. See, keep an eye on that. Sorry, watching too many things. Sorry, we're just dealing with someone in the Telegram group. Sorry, so somebody's asking me questions about settings in an EA. If ever you've got an EA and you want to know the answer to a question about what a setting does, you open up Strategy Tester, go into the properties, fill in what you want, and you run it, and you see what it does. It's very, very simple to answer your own questions if you've got questions on the EA before you come to someone like myself, who then has to, again, what I've spent years writing manuals and videos for, answer the question. I just get asked the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't matter how many times you write it in a manual and you put it in a video. People don't watch. Sorry. Just seriously, just go in the Strategy Tester. If you've got a question, answer it. So 4 hour extensions. US dollar yen, massive extension on the US dollar yen on the 4 hour. Oops, that's daily. Not looking to short this, obviously, with what we've had from the yen this morning. There is a good possibility we're going to get some US dollar weakness off of the back of the GDP figures. It hasn't shown its face at the moment, but I think that's probably going to come. But whether that is going to be weaker than the yen, I doubt it. So I suspect we'll probably just get an accumulation, maybe a bit of a flag, and another leg up on that. So I wouldn't be looking to short that one. Same with the US dollar, Swiss and CAD. Expecting some weakness. I'm in the US dollar Swiss at the moment, but there's no Swiss franc strength showing through. So it's really a case of how long is this US dollar weakness going to last if it shows its head with the GDP figures. So I'm not looking for much out of this. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback and a push. Very, very extended, have been extended for pretty much a week. Haven't moved. You saw I tried to short this last week, at the beginning of the week on Monday, because we'd been embedded for the previous week, and the thing just carried on going. I'm glad I got out of the position because we just carried on. So that one's pushing hard, and US dollar CAD as well. We've got a strong CAD. We've got a just as strong US dollar at the moment. So again, this one's gone into an accumulation. Two strong currencies against each other equals accumulation. Same as two weak currencies. So yeah, massive push on that one. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. That's very nicely extended to the downside. If we do get this US dollar weakness coming through, we'll get a little bit of a push off of this. But yeah, I mean, it's just everything's being slammed at the minute. Hard to take a long, but that's massively extended. Same as the pound US dollar. I don't want to long the pound US dollar. The New Zealand US dollar I would be interested in, but can't really find a way to get into this thing. There's no strength whatsoever coming through. Nice selling starting to show. taking a second short. So yeah, New Zealand dollar is massively extended. 85s and 15s I would normally be all over, but until I see some signs of weakness in this US dollar, proper signs of weakness in the US dollar, I'm not really interested in getting into anything else. I've got the US dollar Swiss on. It's looking like it's starting to, but we haven't even had a bearish engulfing yet, let alone a reversal alert. There's just no real strength of movement in the US dollar. We've had a reversal, a bearish engulfing on the 1 hour. We didn't manage to make a new low though. So at the moment we are literally just sitting on inside bar. So again, this could well just turn out to be an accumulation push. So want to see some strength in everything against the US dollar. Not seeing it at the minute. New Zealand dollar CAD, again, don't want to be buying against the Canadian dollar at the minute. Massively strong. This New Zealand dollar is still coming down. Very extended. These RSIs are just not working at the moment. Everything is literally being squeezed in one direction or the other. AMR exceeded monthly on the New Zealand dollar Swiss. Obviously, it's the end of the month, so we don't need to worry about that. Pound US dollar. Again, looked like we had some signs of strength coming through this morning, which is why I got into the buy, because we were totally shot and extended. It's to see a pair embedded below the 20 level for such, literally all week it's been embedded below the 20 level, apart from that tiny little flag. You don't see this very often. Very, very, very rare. Just shows you how weak the pound is now and how strong the US dollar is. We are going to come out of this at some point, but equally it could just be one of these tiny little flags. That's all we're getting. So I'm not going to risk too much on this. I've got one long on there. I've got another buy stop when we push up, and I will look to get out of these pretty sharp as we're coming into the low of that candle. Not looking to get any much more out of that. You can see where the propulsion gap is, or where the accumulation there. That's could take that one. That's the more likely. So if I can get that position on, that'll bring my average down to there. If I can push up into there, I'll be off. That's all I want to get out of it. Pound CAD, same thing as the so the Pound CAD, I haven't covered that one, haven't I? Euro CAD and Pound CAD, covered that on the hourlies. Don't want to get in the way of that. Don't want to get in the way of the Euro CAD either. And Euro US dollar and the Pound US dollar pretty much are the same thing. Don't want to get in the way of that one either. So none of these that are extended I really want to be taking until this US dollar calms down and shows some signs of weakness, which we're not getting. So all the time these indices are dropping, the US dollar typically will tend to power up. And as you can see on the indices at the minute, we are not bullish. We are massively bearish. So until this bear run stops and we go into some kind of accumulation, we're not probably going to see that weakness coming through. So there is a possibility that we may be waiting until next week, until FOMC and potentially non-farm payroll to trigger a move on the US dollar. Because we're not seeing it off the back of GDP, are we? So, but it's early days. The news has only just come out in the last couple of hours, and we are pushing down. So we'll see. This could be a continued move to the downside, but the way these indices are selling off, it looks to me more like we'll probably accumulate or potentially push a little bit more on the indices. On the US dollar. So I got another $400 profit on my funded account. I'm just going to, what's that? 850. 803. 1200. Oh, what do I do with that? I said I wouldn't trade this afternoon anymore because I don't want to give it back. He says sitting there watching $500. I'm closing one. We haven't hit the gap yet. I'm sitting here, I'm hovering over the close button on my funded account just as we're approaching these lows. I'm just watching this as to whether or not to get out of one position on that as well. It's yesterday's low as well. So, sorry, yesterday's high. Low. What? Hang on a minute, sorry. Yeah, sorry, it's yesterday's high. Of course it is. Yesterday's low. So this is yesterday's low here on the DAX. We're just tapping into now. Sorry, yesterday's high. Get it right. So we've broken that level. So that's the gap fill high done. Which is basically the today's open. Just closed one. Closing them both. So I have seen your question, Peter. I'm mid-concentration. $1,400 day. Thank you very much. Take that. Left a lot on the table today, but I'm taking a lot off the table as well. So 41.85 is what we're challenging. 41.80 there's a lot of support at as well. That was only added in the last 30 minutes though. Actually a lot of this, no sorry, it wasn't added in the last 30 minutes. This has been building since the open. So this is the open. So we started building orders down at these levels at the open. So there's, and obviously as you can see, the volume at these orders is at these levels has been building. So there's a lot of institutional money sitting down here. Some big orders in there at this 41.80 level as well. There's some big institutional orders in there at 41.80. So you can't quite see it, but there's a little white line there on that number here. So that entire block there is one order, one institutional order. Over 200 contracts sitting there for one bloke long. That big red line. So there's a lot of money there. We're going to get some kind of reaction off of that 41.80. Okay, it's starting to tick in now. So I'm just going to close that one off as well. Buyers are starting to step in. Right, did I finish these? Yeah, pretty much. US dollar, we're waiting on the US dollar to show signs of weakness. It's not really interested, is it? Not interested in being weak. Yen, it's all about the yen at the minute. What is your opinion on Heikin-Ashi candles for assisting in staying in trades longer? And how screwed up is the world economy? Very. Yeah, I mean Heikin-Ashis I don't use. I have used in the past. I've looked in, like everything, I've looked into Heikin-Ashis. I've traded with Heikin-Ashi. You're just as good with a, in my opinion, with a 9 EMA If you stick a 9 on your chart, use blue. That's a bit dodgy, you can't see that. Oh, let me grab it, for God's sake. If you stick a 9 on, you will find either the 9 or the 20. If you look at Heikin Ashi candles, obviously they stay one color, yeah, and they smooth out price action. So they're kind of a hybrid between price action candlesticks and Renko. They're in the middle, Heikin Ashi candles. You will find that they change color basically roughly when you'll cross a moving average, and you need to depend on which time frame you're on, but you'll find a lot of the time Heikin Ashi is exactly the same as this. So if you close above a moving average, your Heikin Ashi will change color. That was my experience. So I kind of dumped Heikin Ashi as a gimmick because basically I could stick an MA on and do exactly the same thing. As long as this thing, so if, let's say for example we're using the 20, yeah, Heikin Ashi changes to red. Until this closes above the 20, you get a candle close above the 20 and hold. Heikin Ashi remains red. So why not just use a 20? That's the conclusion I came to. Or the 9, or something. I don't think I've got 125 on Aussie US. A bit of strength coming through on the US dollar, not a lot, but a bit. A load of selling coming in on the indices. Buying rather. I don't think I've got Heikin Ashi. I don't think do they come with MT4? Yeah, I have. Whoa. Red and white. Let's go red on the, actually no, let's use a neutral color. So let's go, I don't know, dark olive green. Oh, this is obviously made for a dark background. So there's your Heikin Ashi. Yeah, so you see they start to turn red. They start to turn red. Actually, tell you what I should do. Let's get rid of the candlesticks. Let's go to the line chart. Okay, so there's your Heikin Ashis. Obviously the chop. Go green here when we cross above the 9 and the 20. They remain green. Gives you a little red there and then turns back to green again. If you'd have been using the 9 EMA, you'd have been scared out there by Heikin Ashi. The 9 EMA, you'd have kept you in. You would have got out a little bit sooner up there when we turned red on Heikin Ashi, and you wouldn't have got into a short there until the 9. So pluses and minuses. But if you want to stay in trades longer, Renko is probably your best bet. Renko charts obviously completely smooth out price. But that was my findings anyway. I think it might have been the 5 I was using at the time. Yeah, I think it might have been the 5 I was using. You can see the 5 is very similar. So your 5, you'd have got your short there. You wouldn't have got out there. So I think it was the 5 and the 9 I was using at the time when I was experimenting. But that was the short answer. That was actually quite a long answer to a very short question. But yeah. But if you, like with everything, if you find them useful and they help you and your trading brain make decisions, use them. Just because I don't find them useful or someone else doesn't find them useful doesn't mean that they're not going to be used to you. Everybody's got their own way of trading and their own indicators that are going to help them. So yeah, use it. I just found there was no advantage, and I'd like to see price action. Yeah, I like to see bullish engulfing, and you can't see that in Heikinashi. It's too smoothed. The world economy is screwed as well, to answer your other question. Totally. I have no idea what is going on with world economics at the minute, and I don't think most of the market participants do either. A lot of people getting shot to pieces at the minute, and institutions. XCAP, you're not. I don't know what the answer to your question, what that question was that you asked after you made to talk about levels, zone, range. I don't know if you're still in here, but I think you might be talking about ranges, but I'm not sure. But ranges are very simple. What have we got that's in a range at the moment? Oops. Something's in a range. Is it one of the pounds? A Euro Swiss, isn't it? So, I'll tell you what's in a range. I know exactly what's in a range. Gold. So, gold's in a range. Basically, you got these lows. Yeah, there. You got these highs here. Yeah, so there's your range. And basically, you just short the top and long the bottom. But I prefer to use zones for all support and resistance. So somewhere, as you can see, you got a low there, you got some lows there, you got some lows there. Came down and we retested that area, wicked through it, but pushed back through again. So that is what I would class as a range zone that you would look to take a long out of at some point. And I think I did, didn't I? And it didn't work. But yeah, I mean that's a big range zone up there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was your question. Not really sure. Support and resistance, basically. Support turns into resistance. Resistance turns into support. It either holds and stays as resistance, or it blows through and becomes support. One or the other. You don't know whether it's going to be a resistance or whether it's going to turn into a support until price gets there and it breaks it, or it doesn't break it. Are you expecting dollar to come down soon? Seems like it's at its peak. Yeah. Yes, I am. All US dollars are shot, massively extended, and have been. They're embedded, basically. Not the US dollar yen. That's all. US dollar Swiss. You know, it's up here. We got up here, there. So we got to this height. We were looking for a double top. We broke out. I was expecting a pullback long. We got a breakout. So that's where I started shorting it, because I thought, right, well, we've had 1 week up. We've had 2 weeks up. Unlikely we're going to get 3 weeks up. What did we get 3 weeks up? Not just 3 weeks up, but one hell of 3 weeks up. The weekly range on that is 386 or 212. Yeah, sorry, 141 is the weekly range. We are 212, so we're nearly double. You know, we're 150, 170 on the weekly range. Everything's been smashed on the US dollar this week. See the pound US dollar. Yeah, we are at 200% weekly range on the pound US dollar. Euro, we're 150%. Aussie, we've hit. Everything's shot on the US dollar. But as I say, at the moment, you know, this market that we're in at the minute is anybody's guess. It's not doing what it normally does. So good to hear your opinion. I like them psychologically. Yeah, use them. If they, like I say, with anything, if you stick something on a chart and it gives you confidence to either get in, stay in, or get out, it's got a use. If you find whatever you're using is getting you out too soon, getting you in too soon, or whatever, and it's a negative, take it off your charts. Only put things on your charts that you find useful. And you know, they're there for a reason. You know, things like ADR. I don't take ADR reversals very often, but they are, for me, very helpful to know that if I'm in a position, that should be where I should be trying to get a second position, because we know we get exhausted. It has a use, but I don't use it all the time. If you have Heikin-Ashi on there, you could have Heikin-Ashi. So what I used to do years ago, when I was trading price action at support or resistance using the shadow, so literally I was just using have I screwed up? No, I haven't screwed up my chart. It's just completely off the scale, isn't it? Let's just pick something else. So when I was using this, basically, so I was literally just playing the pullbacks into the zone shorts. What I would do was, when I get into a trade, I would then switch over to Renko, and I would use Renko to keep me in my trades. Yeah, and when I got 2 Renko bars back, I would exit, and then I would wait. Then I would switch back to this template and wait for my next entry there, and then as soon as I'm in the trade, I would switch to Renko to keep me in. And when I very first started trading, what I used to do was I used to put a parabolic SAR on my chart, and then I would take off the parabolic SAR if I wasn't into a trade. So yeah, if you find them useful, use them, all of them. They've all got uses. They all tell you something. It's just what most people tend to do is overload their chart with hundreds of indicators which tell them exactly the same thing. They put the stochastics on there with the RSI, and you know, it's just they're both telling you the same thing. Prices going up and down. We can see that price action tells us this. So just using indicators for different reasons. One to keep you in, one to get you in. The swap from regular candles to Heikin-Ashi once I'm in the trade. Yeah, exactly. So when US dollar falls, pound will rise. Yes. Well, no. Not necessarily. If look at a currency strength meter, I don't think we've got currency strength today. Oh, Biden to ask Congress for 33 billion in emergency funding for Ukraine. Germany drops opposition to European embargo on Russian oil. Oh. Oil's becoming more expensive. I was just going to look for a currency strength meter just to demonstrate this point. So if the US dollar weakens, the orange one, yeah, if the orange one starts coming down, yeah, the pound, being the green one, either stays sideways or also starts to come down. Pound US dollar will not go up. What will happen is pound US dollar will go sideways. Yeah. So for price to move, yeah, you have to have a currency which is weaker than the other. So in this case, the pound is weak and the US dollar is strong. If the US dollar weakens, but the pound remains weaker than the US dollar, this will still come down. It just won't come down at that rate. It will come down at that rate. Yeah. If both of these go really, really weak together, they'll go sideways because there's nothing stronger than the other. So two weak currencies trading together equals a range. Yeah. So it doesn't mean just because one currency gets weak, it doesn't mean that the other currency will get strong. Look at the yen, yeah? Fell off a cliff. Right? If you look at what's the weakest currency today, that was the New Zealand dollar. Yeah, so look at the New Zealand dollar, which came down also today. So we had a weak New Zealand dollar and a weak yen at the same time. What do you think happened to the New Zealand dollar yen? Yeah, so we had the yen being really, really, really weak, and then the New Zealand dollar also weakened at the same time. Yeah, so if you've got two weak currencies, they sit sideways. Yeah, everything else, looking at things like the US dollar yen, yeah, US dollar yen didn't pull back. That's still going because we've got a strong US dollar and a weak yen. So US dollar is up here, strong. Yen is down here, weak. So US dollar yen will go up. Makes sense? But don't use this to try and get into trades. This tells you what you can see on your chart. Yeah. So people try and use this to trade with, and it's literally just showing you what you're seeing on your chart. I can tell you, if you pick a currency, Euro CAD, for example, I can tell you that the CAD line on that chart is higher than the Euro line because this has come down. I don't need a chart to tell me that. It's obvious because price is coming down on the CAD Euro. So the Euro is going to be lower than the CAD. Actually, that's the CAD, not that one. Yeah. So the CAD is higher than the Euro, meaning the Euro CAD will be coming down. Yeah. So all this does is tell you in wiggly lines exactly what you can see on your chart. The only use it does have a use, is you should be looking for pullbacks on US dollar yen and CAD yen. Yeah, because these guys are really strong. These are strengthening at the minute, really strong, and this is really weak. At some point, this is going to strengthen, and because these are strong, these are going to weaken, because price has to move like that as people take profit on their positions. So you'll get a dip like that, and you'll get a push like that. It will probably come back down again and go up again, but it means you're likely to get a pullback soon. But there's other indicators that will tell you that much easier. The relative strength. Yeah. So this is showing you, the RSI is showing you what the relative strength between these two currencies is. This is a strength chart. Yeah. Look how many lines and how complicated and messy this thing is. Yeah. The RSI tells you exactly the same thing as that. When we get down here, we're likely to do that. And on that other chart, you will see one go like that and the other one go like that. Again, it's just stuff telling you the same thing. It's all 90% of the indicators out there tell you the same thing. Right. So we've got pullback on the DAX at the moment. So we still haven't got that gap fill 100% done, but we don't always get 100% fill. Usually we do, but this accumulation, if you look at this on a daily chart, you know, we've kind of touched wicks now. What a lot of people refer to as a wick test. So that wick has touched that wick. So we've kind of filled the gap in that respect. So we may have done the gap fill today, and there's certainly an awful lot of buyers stepping in at the moment across all the indexes. But they're all down still. So potentially we've got one more leg down on the DAX. The S&P obviously is all gap filled, and so is the Nasdaq. We are bouncing out of this propulsion gap. There is liquidity sitting down there, as we've seen on the S&P, and there will be on the Nasdaq as well. So just tapping into the 4200 again. So potentially this is where we're going to get that next leg down starting. If we're going to come down and challenge this 4180 today on the S&P, i.e. we're going to get another tranche of selling coming through. This is probably where we will start to see that selling coming in. So be watching for another leg down. So beautiful market structure today. Makes it nice and easy to trade. But I'm done for the day. I don't want to take any more positions today. I've milked it, and I don't want to unmilk it, basically. When I started trading, indicators were the be-all and end-all until I found out that price action is the only real non-lagging indicator. Yeah, it is. All indicators lag, mine included. Yeah, market reversal alerts indicator lags. All indicators lag. Things like the ADR indicator, they don't lag. This is not a lag, this is a levels indicator. Levels indicators don't lag, they show you areas of interest. So any levels indicators are always good, you know, things like pivots and that sort of stuff. But all other indicators, moving averages, everything, RSIs, they're all lagging. They're all telling you what price has just done. Yeah. The market reversal alert indicator is telling you that price has just moved back in the opposite direction. You can see that. But it alerts you to that fact. That's the purpose of it. It's to alert you to that fact, because we cannot all be sitting here watching these things, watching all of these constantly every single day, can we? So that's the use of indicators, is basically to alert you to conditions. That dashboards and indicators, so that you can go and look at the charts, because otherwise you'll just stare at charts blankly all day long with no idea why or when to get in. US dollar Swiss is coming down very nicely now, so nice profit on that one building. So here comes the US dollar weakness. US dollar yen's coming down, US dollar CAD's coming down, pound US and euro US are pushing up. So this is all US dollar weakness starting. So fingers crossed on this one. I'm not getting too greedy with it, as I say. I'm looking. I mean, we've broken these lows now, which is great. So I'm just keeping an eye on all levels to see where potentially we could find some support. But we've got these propulsion moves in here. We've got this big old accumulation here in this area of balance, which we broke out of initially. So we're likely to find some resistance down towards ADR today. If we do get down to ADR today, she'll take off a couple of these. And then see what happens from there, price action wise. Take one off a little bit further down. Actually, I'll probably go for that level there. So where we gapped down to support, I'll look for a double bottom and support bounce, and then I'll let one run. I don't think the US dollar is going to go down much further than that. I think we're going to get a bounce and we're going to get another leg up on the US dollar. But we've got FOMC next week, so and non-farm payroll obviously, but FOMC is the main mover next week, and we've got the rate increase obviously next week as well. So it's going to have an impact. Rate increases on Wednesday, obviously with FOMC. Assuming that's what they do. Obviously, if they don't do that and they do a 0.5 or a 1.5 or a 1.25, then yeah, all hell's going to break loose. Which way? Your guess is as good as mine at the minute. You know, no idea what the market's factored in to anything at the moment. It's just a chaotic mess. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. So I'll be back on tomorrow with normal sessions. So 7:50 tomorrow morning for the Frankfurt session, and then again 2:20 tomorrow afternoon. And then next week I'm going to move over to one a day. And it looks like at the moment from the chat everybody wants to do the 7:50 session, which is fine. So we'll do 7:50. We'll do an analysis of all the FX pairs. And obviously we'll start trading the DAX at the open. But I'll leave that poll up there. There's quite a few people. It's kind of 50-50 between people wanting 12:30 in the afternoon, which is what we used to have the live room at before Christmas, and the 7:50 in the morning one. So I guess obviously the morning session is good because anybody in the New York session can then watch the replay before the market open. So makes sense for everybody, doesn't it, really? But I'll leave that poll open, and you can go and participate if you want to in the Telegram group. So that's it for today. Good day. Milked the DAX this afternoon on both accounts, and some fairly good FX movement as well. Apart from that screw up on the DAX that I had, that gap loss. That was a stupid mistake, leaving that open overnight. Blech. Cost me $100 that. But yeah, apart from that, good session. Traded that on the live account and the funded account. I keep calling it the live account, the funded account. And obviously traded that all afternoon. So pretty good. Well, the people who voted were those who were in the morning, at the morning session. Give the folks from this session a chance to vote as well. Yeah, so if you're in here and you're in the Telegram group, go and put your vote in if you want the afternoon session. A lot of people seem to be able to make both anyway. So, okay, that's it for me this afternoon. If you're going to trade on this afternoon, you get into the spot really where you want to be looking for shorts on this pullback. If we break back above those highs, we've got a W reversal in play. So I'd be watching that level. Yeah, watch that level. I think probably if we're going to do another leg down, it's going to be a 2050 drop to come and fill this gap. As I say, we've got plenty of movement to the downside on all indices at the moment. We are pushing up a little bit more though on the S&P. They've broken through that level. We've now got 4210, so we're back above 4200 at the minute. So we've quite possibly done the drop today, but we're entering the lunch period for US soon. So for about an hour and just about half an hour to an hour, it all tends to calm down a bit. So if we don't get a push back down below there, which means we're probably coming down to there, we'll probably just hover. All tends to slow down an hour and a half in, which is exactly where we are now. Opening range high 2 is in. So this level gets drawn by the price action toolkit at 1.5 hours. And typically the high or the low of the session is in I would say probably today the high is in, and we're looking for continuation. So just watch this. If we get bearish engulfing here, nice tight little entry for potentially a very nice reward. I'm not going to trade it though. I'm not going to watch it either because I'll want to trade it. And I know what will happen. I'll just give back $200 and be cross. So I'm done for the day. All right, guys. So have a good afternoon if you're carrying on, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:50. If you need anything, come in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I will see you in the morning. Have a good one.